In this video, we'll be looking at how to select and mask out a transparent object inside of Affinity. So without any further ado, let's get started. So before starting the video, first of all, if you want the image files that we will be working along in this video tutorial, then please find the files or the image files in the link in the description. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, hit the subscribe button in order to get new and helpful tips related to Affinity. Now, without any further delay, let's get started to the video. So as you can see here, we have a wine glass. So let me name this particular wine glass image layer as wine glass itself. Wine, GLAS as wine glass. And after naming the layer wine glass, now make sure that we have selected the wine glass layer, which is being highlighted by blue. As I have already selected, it is already highlighted in blue. And then let's select object selection tool. Now first of all, we want to select the entire wine glass as a whole. So after the object selection tool detects the wine glass, you can see that it is being highlighted by a blue pattern, and we'll simply click on it. And now our wine glass has been selected roughly. And after making the selection of the wine glass, next we'll simply navigate below on the layers panel and click on layer mask icon or mask layer icon in case of Affinity. Now you can see that a new mask layer icon has been created. After a new mask layer icon has been applied, now let's deselect our selection by using the shortcut key of Command D as I'm using the Mac. And if you are using the Windows, please use the shortcut key of Control D to deselect your selection. And now you can see that our new layer mask has been created. So the next step is to desaturate all the colors that are available or that exists inside of our wine glass. And to do that, let's navigate below and select this particular icon called adjustment and hover below and select HSL. So I'm using this particular HSL adjustment layer in order to desaturate the colors from the wine glass by simply clicking on this particular slider and then dragging it all the way to the left for the saturation shift property. And after dragging it all the way to the left for the saturation shift property, I'll close the HSL box. And now you can see that all of the colors from the wine glass has been desaturated. So next, I'll select the wine glass layer again and then navigate above the layers panel and click on the blend option or the cog icon. And right here, you can see that we have two properties that Affinity has provided. One is for the source layer ranges and the other is for the underlying composition ranges. The underlying concept for both of these is same. However, the reference layer in which both of these will be applied to are different. For example, if we make changes to the underlying composition ranges, it will make changes to the wine glass in reference to the underlying layer that is below our wine glass image. And in our case right now, we do not have any underlying images since we are making the selection and masking this particular wine glass or this particular object as transparent object. So now, since we are masking this particular object in its own layer itself, we will be adjusting the source layer ranges. And for that, first of all, I'll select the node or the point on the right and click it and drag it all the way below like so. And now you can see the magic that every white colors or every white tones that were available in the wine glass are now have been gotten rid of. And we can see the background which is indicated by the checker box in the wine glass. Now similarly, let's select the other end node or point and drag it below slowly to find a sweet spot. So I will simply position it just right here. And after that, you can see that most of the blacks that were on top of the wine glasses have now been gotten rid of, exposing the transparent background that was existing behind our wine glass image. Now let's adjust few more elements or areas that are between the wine glass on top and on the middle. So we'll simply add one more point or node right here and drag it all the way below and you can see the transition happening between the wine glass at the top. And similarly, let's add a point right here as well, and then simply drag it all the way to the left until this point, like so. And now you can see that our wine glasses actual elements have only been retained right here. So we can also go ahead and adjust the point further, like so. So we can also go ahead and adjust the nodes further. So I'll simply click and adjust the node like so. I'll simply click this node and adjust it to a perfect setting like so. So we do not want much of the details from the wine glass to go. So we need to play around with these nodes. So now after I'm satisfied with the position of the node, I'll simply close this blend option box to commit. Now this is our wine glass fully having a transparent background like so. And now what I will do next is I'll select the move tool, and then I'll select both of these layers first, and then I'll group them by using the shortcut key of Command G as I'm using Mac. And if you are using Windows, you can use the shortcut key of Control G. And now you can see that our layers have been grouped. And then I'll rename our layers again. So I'll click on this name, and now you can see that we can type in a new name. So I'll type wine glass like so. And after typing in the name of wine glass, now we'll right click on this layer and select copy. After selecting copy, we'll simply navigate to our next document to place that wine glass on top of our table, which you can see on the image. So to place, I'll simply use the shortcut key of Command V to place it. And if you're using Windows, you can also use the shortcut key of Control V to place it. And now I'll resize our wine glass by clicking on this point and then resizing it like so. And then simply clicking and dragging it to place it on top of the table. So I'll not play with the color tones to harmonize our wine glass with that of the background more in this video. However, I'll add few more adjustment layer to make it a little bit attuned with the color setting of the new background image. So after placing the wine glass, next I'll select this particular icon below our layers panel called adjustments, and then I'll navigate below and then select the option called white balance. So in white balance, I will click on this slider and drag it all the way to the right. So you can see that now we are having an issue here. So the issue is when we are applying the white balance, since the white balance adjustment layer is on top of two layers that are beneath the white balance adjustment layer, it is applying to both of these layers, which are wine glass and background. So we want white balance to be only applied to wine glass. So in order to do that, I'll close this white balance option and then click the white balance adjustment layer and then drag it inside wine glass. And after dragging it inside wine glass, now I'll open the wine glass layers, and inside the wine glass, I'll simply click on white balance adjustment, and now you can see that a white balance box has opened. So what we are basically doing here is we are clipping the white balance adjustment layer with that of the wine glass layer, so that whatever effects we produce or implement with white balance box or adjustment layer will only be limited to our wine glass. So I'll adjust the warm color a bit to make or tone our glass with that of our background like so. And let's see if we can adjust the other slider as well. So I'll tone or move the tint to a bit left, or let's check if we can move it to the right. Alright, so I'll move it to the left like so, and then I'll close our white balance box. So after closing our white balance box, so the next thing that I will do is I will also add another adjustment layer. So I'll add an adjustment layer of curves. So I'll select curves, and after selecting curves, you can see that the curves adjustment layer is by default inside the white glass or wine glass, which will act as a clipping mask after we have placed it inside the wine glass group. So now let's adjust the brightness and contrast first by simply increasing the contrast a bit by clicking and adding node and adding a contrast like so. And after that, let's select this particular color category and select reds, and in the reds we want to add a bit of red like so, to adjust it with the background, and let's select green as well. And for this, we want to add a little bit of green as well to blend with the background, and we want to select blue next, and we want to introduce yellows to our wine glass. And in order to do that, I'll simply click on this particular blue line or axis and then click it and drag it all the way down to introduce the yellows to our wine glass. So one thing about curves is always remember that the opposite of red is cyan, the opposite of green is magenta, and opposite of blue is yellow. So we can apply cyan with the help of red, magenta with the help of green, and yellow with the help of blue. So this is the reason why if we decrease the node in the blue axis, then it will introduce the yellow color. And if we increase the blue, now you can see that our wine glass is introducing blues inside it. So we want to introduce yellows to blend with the background color tone. So we'll decrease it slightly like so. And after we're satisfied with our curves adjustment layer, I'll simply close the box down to commit. Next, I'll uncollapse our wine glass layer and click on wine glass layer and then add a new layer mask. After adding a new layer mask, I'll select the brush and then I'll make sure that a soft round brush has been selected. By the way, we can select the soft round brush from either basic category or masking category since we are going to apply the brush to the mask of the layer. So I'll select basic for now and then I'll scroll it, and after scrolling, let's see where our soft brown brush is. So let's select this round soft brush right here, and now I'll again go back to our layers panel and I'll increase the size of the brush from this particular width property at the top contextual bar, or we can also use the large curly bracket key in order to increase the size of the brush irrespective of what system you are using. So now make sure that your mask is selected actively, which is indicated by the blue outline outside the mask, and simply brush it over or outside of the line that you can see here like so to get rid of those blacks like so. So by default, I'm mostly having this issue that whenever I select the brush, the width edge property is by default selected. So I'll turn this off and then I'll again brush over like so, and now you can see that the line are now hidden or the line are now removed. So this is the non-destructive way of using the layer mask like so. Now after I'm satisfied with the placement of our wine cup, I'll simply click on this particular move tool and then I'll simply click outside like so. So this is how you can select and mask a transparent object inside of Affinity for now, and place it inside your new background image to form new image composition or to work on any new compositional project that is related with transparent objects. So if you find this video helpful, please click on the like button, and for more tips and tricks related to Affinity, hit the subscribe button. Thank you for watching this video and see you on the next video.